Hey makeup friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and today we're going to be doing an update on my project pan, which I have not updated in several months, nor have I been tracking monthly progress even just for my own benefit. Having said that, we do have some empties, we have some significant progress on some other items, and I have some new items to bring into the mix that I will share with you. Before we get into that though, I'm just going to quickly tell you the key players in the makeup today. On my eyes is the Untamed palette from Sigma. There's what she looks like. I have used this shade here, this deep green, and then this more shimmery khaki kind of color. And then on my lips, I have one of the Lip Cloud Clay. What the hell? These have like the weirdest name. Cloud Lab Lip Clay. Lip Clay. One of the lip clays from Kaleidos. This one is in the shade Golden Rosin. So that's what we've got going on. Let's get into this project. So if you've been around for a while, you know that I kind of fell off the face of the earth for a few months. I had a lot of other competing interests and different passions developing. Filming just kind of fell by the wayside. It was just the one thing on my plate that I could let go of so that I could balance the rest. And so I did, but I'm back, baby. Not on a regular basis and not on a frequent basis, but I am aiming for one video a week. That's the goal. Okay, regardless, I did wear makeup essentially every day as I do, and I just kind of fell into certain products that I was using more than others. Some of them were within the scope of my project pan, others not so much. So let's start with the progress, then we'll go into the empties, and then I'll show you some of the other items that I have been focusing on. So this one here, this is the foundation from Lisa Eldridge, the Seamless Skin Foundation, and I have not finished it. This is one of those items that I didn't use it during the summer. I found other more lightweight items that I really enjoyed during the hotter temperature. I have gotten back into using this one, but not exclusively. I've been sort of really enjoying rediscovering my collection, and that has also involved just trying different products that I have and seeing how I feel about them now. So while I am getting more use out of this now than I did during the summer, it was on pause for quite some time, and therefore the progress shows that. Not panicking about it. I know that I'm not going to finish it by the end of the year, but I've still gotten more progress than I would have if I just completely ignored it. So I feel good with where I'm at. I did finish an entire other foundation type product. I'm going to do a separate empties video and I will include it in there. This is a nice foundation. It just didn't suit my purposes for the summer. It was just too much coverage for what I needed at that time. Now, another progress item, I did show this very briefly in a video that I did with my bronzer declutter. I think that was the video before this one. And it is this one here from Chanel. This is the Soleil Tan de Chanel. Goes by a different name now. I can never remember what it is. La Beige, something like that. I'm not sure. Regardless, here is where we're at now. So I've basically repressed it, for lack of a better word. I don't know really how you would describe this. I didn't have to press it per se because it is a cream product, but I had to sort of mush it back into the middle because it was too hard to get my brush into it. So I have made very significant progress on this. I am very happy with where I'm at. I highly doubt that it'll be finished by the end of the year, even though we have another 2 full months. I don't think that's going to happen unless I start going really heavy-handed on the bronzer, which is not a look I'm going for. I have made my thoughts known on this since I first started introducing it on this channel. I love the smell of it. I love the blendability of it. It does have a more strongly orange undertone than some other bronzers. Works for my skin tone because I do have a more warm / golden undertone, but if you are on the cooler side or very fair, I don't think that this one's going to be your best friend, but it works for me and I am very happy with it. Okay, another progress update. This one here from Lorac. This is the behind the scenes eye primer. I don't think I've used it since the last time I did an update, so the line, it's hard to see because it's a black line on black packaging. It's somewhere up in this neighborhood. I've honestly just been using the leftover concealer on my brush to prime my eyelids, and that's been working out quite well for me. And I just haven't felt the need to use this one, so I haven't. So it is out of the project pan at this point. Now the other one, it's a little bit harder to do the update. Now it's in an e.l.f. package. It's not an e.l.f. product. This is the RCMA No Color powder, but that comes in what looks like a spice jar. Like it's a tall, narrow jar with like holes at the top. You either have to dump a bunch out to access it or try to fit a brush into it somehow, which is virtually impossible. So hence I dumped it all into this package, and we've made very, very good progress on it. There's really not a ton left. This one I do think will be finished by the end of the year. I don't use a lot of powder when I do use it. I use it under my eyes and then I do a very fine dusting over my entire face. I don't touch up during the day, so it's like a one shot, one kill kind of situation. So it lasts a very long time, but nonetheless, I do think it'll be done by the end of the year. And that's it for progress on items that were in my project the last time I did one of these updates. But I do have several empty products. So first up is a primer that I had been working on. This one is from Good Molecules. It's the silicone-free priming moisturizer. It is completely empty. I have not repurchased it because I've been using the other primers that I have in my collection, but I absolutely would repurchase this. It's more of like a kicked up moisturizer, if you will, than it is like a gripping primer. It just adds a little bit of more moisture to my skin and helps the foundation blend out nicely on top of it. It doesn't add a lot of glow, it doesn't mattify anything, it doesn't blur anything. It acts very much like a moisturizer, but with a little bit of that priming element to it where the makeup just blends out really smoothly over top of it. Also, the price point on this is really nice. I will put it on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it's like under $20, which that is fantastic. So very happy to have finished that one out, but I am working on others at the moment. Another product that I finished is this one here from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Beauty Light Wand in Pillow Talk, because everything from Charlotte Tilbury is seemingly in Pillow Talk. So this is one of those little like foam tipped liquid highlighters. It's completely empty, and I have been using a product very similar to this from a different brand. We will get to that in a moment. Don't really feel the need to repurchase this. It is a nice product, but I think for the price point, I can find some very similar items that cost significantly less than this. I also finished this powder here from Jouer. This is the Soft Focus Hydrate and Set Powder. I had it in Radiant Translucent, and it is completely empty. I actually did try to repurchase this from the Canadian Sephora website, but they only had 2 shades, which were way too deep for me. I rather suspect that Jouer is kind of slowly exiting from Sephora, at least here in Canada. A lot of the shade selections have become very, very small, and there are a lot fewer products to choose from Jouer, so I didn't care enough to go to like Beautylish and buy it there and pay for customs and shipping and all that. Don't love it that much. Had I been able to forego those additional expenses and just get it straight from Sephora, that's what I would have done. But I have other powders. This one was very nice. I used it as a finishing powder. It added just a hint of luminosity to my skin, really blended out any powders that I had already applied, just did the job beautifully. But I don't care enough to pay additional expenses to replace it. I also finished this powder. This one is from Laura Mercier. This is the Secret Brightening Powder, and it's done, completely empty. I used this specifically underneath my eyes. It didn't produce like a weird white cast or anything, although it did help to brighten underneath my eyes. There's just a little bit of luminosity to it that helps to reflect the light without actually altering the color of my skin. So I didn't have like bright white under eyes. It just sort of bounced the light back, and it's makeup that works for you, not against you, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. Regardless, I very much liked the product, but I have so many powders that I don't really feel the need to go out and specifically buy one that I use only under my eyes. I can use an overall generalized face powder for that. And then finally, we do have a deluxe size perfume sample, this one being from Marc Jacobs in Perfect, and it is all done. I do have this in the intense version sitting up on the drawer back here. If you're in the market, give it a sniff, but when they say intense, they definitely mean intense. I think just the regular version of it would have been a better option for me. The intense one is like very concentrated, and so I find it's one of those, like, I have to spray it that way and walk into it rather than spraying it towards me. So there's my thoughts on that. So those are all the items that were in the project the last time I did one of these updates. And now we have some items that I've just kind of fallen into habitual use, shall we say. But I may as well throw them in here so you can see what they are, and then most of them, a lot of them are like, they're going to be done by the end of the year. That is absolutely for sure. So for example, this one here from Tower 28, this is one of their glosses. As you can see, there's very, very little left. So this is kind of a gimme. This is in the shade XOXO. It's one of the Shine On lip jellies. I gotta say, as much use as I've had out of these, they're not really my favorite formula. They kind of bridge the gap between a lip oil and a lip balm. They feel a little bit oilier than like a lip gloss or a lip balm would, but there's a bit more substance to it than what a typical lip oil has. So it feels kind of like a hybrid of the two. I don't dislike the product at all. It's just kind of there. I'm not interested in replacing this. Then we have a setting spray. This one is from Gerard Cosmetics, one of the Slay All Day setting sprays. This one is the Mint Chocolate Chip. It is very heavily fragranced. I happen to love the scent of it, so that doesn't bother me at all. I have gone through a multitude of these setting sprays, and I really do enjoy them. I do have one more left in my drawer. I believe it's the coconut scent that I will use when this one is complete, and then it's time to restock on them. Now I am an affiliate with Gerard Cosmetics, so I do get these for free basically, which I very much appreciate. But that being said, I think it still stands on its own, even if I didn't have that affiliation with the brand. I really do like these setting sprays, and they really do lock my makeup into place. Then we have a primer that I've been working on. So I'm kind of working on two at the moment. I'll show you the other one in just a moment. This is the one that I've been primarily focused on. This is from Benefit. This is the Professional Light Primer, and this is where I have marked it. And this is one of those more like blurring / mattifying kind of primers. It's got like a thicker consistency to it, and it does blend out nicely, although it doesn't look like it will. I'm not particularly fussed about buying this one. Again, I do like something that adds a little bit more moisturization, a little bit more glow to my skin than what this does. I don't dislike it. I definitely prefer this to the regular Professional formula. This one is a little bit more moisturizing, a little bit less mattifying and blurring. So it does like ride the gap nicely, but I just don't feel that this fits my skin's needs as well as a more moisturizing primer does. Now I said I have been rotating between the primer from Benefit and another one. The other item that I'm using is actually considered to be a serum, but there's a story there. We'll get to it. So it is this one here from Merit. This is the Great Skin, the Great Skin Instant Glow Serum. As you can see here, it's a bit of a bi-phase product, and then you just kind of shake it up to mix it all in, and then it's just a little squeeze pump here. I will say this can get a little messy when you try to squirt it into your hand. There's usually some splashback, so I'm not in love with that, but I've just learned to sort of do it out this way rather than close to my shirt or my skin. So this product has been on the market for a little while. Merit reached out to me when they were first launching it and offered it to me, but at the time, it was more marketed as a serum, and so I turned them down. I don't tend to do a lot of review of skincare items on my channel because I don't really use a lot of skincare items. For the most part, I can get away with just washing my skin with a regular cleanser. I use one from The Ordinary, nothing fancy about it. And then for daily moisturizer, I use one from Versed. I don't tend to do serums and toners and eye creams and all the other additional steps that go into it. Every now and then I will exfoliate and I will use a mask and things of that sort, but I don't have a skincare regime. It's just not an area where I feel I need to spend a lot of money. So when they reached out with a serum, I was like, I'm okay. But then they reached out again I'd say about a month ago, and they were offering it more as a primer. Same product, different spin to it. So they offered it with these two products as well. This is their blending brush, and then this is their complexion stick. This I have used up a complete one of these before. This one's in the shade Linen. It's sort of like a hybrid. You can use it as a concealer, you can use it as a foundation. I personally don't like it as a concealer because it's too little coverage, but as an everyday foundation, I very much like it because it is very blendable and it does just provide a very light amount of coverage. So I said yes, obviously, because I've got it sitting here in my hand. Thinking about it as a primer is what tipped the scales for me. And I have to say, I actually really do like it as a primer. I would prefer if it had a different delivery mechanism, as I said, but regardless, I just put a pump in my hand, rub my hands together, and then blend it in and let it do its thing. And it does just add that luminosity to my skin that does help to sort of peek through any foundation that I put on top. It's not glittery, it's not shiny, it's certainly not heavy or fragranced in any way, but it just helps to add that additional level of healthiness to my skin that I really appreciate. I find that it doesn't mess up any foundation that I put on top of it. It doesn't break it apart. It's not oily. It's just a very nice product that if they hadn't reached out again and mentioned it as a primer, I would never have considered it to be a primer. But I am glad that I have tried it and I'm happy to incorporate it into my makeup collection and part of my makeup routine. So moving on from there, we've got quite a few other products here to talk about. Again, we have another gimme. This is another lip product. This one is from Clarins. This is their Natural Lip Perfector in shade 1. It is right down to the nitty gritty. There's really not much left in there. And in fact, I actually just went out this morning and repurchased in a deeper shade. This is shade 7. It's basically, I said deeper shade, it's my lips, but better. I love this product. I think it's criminally underrated. It is incredibly moisturizing on the skin, and because the pigmentation in it, it's there, but it's sheer, this is like the perfect purse product because you can apply it anywhere. It's going to add that moisture to your lips. It is going to add a little bit of color and shine without being a high-risk situation where it's all over your face. It doesn't gum up. It's not sticky. It's just a beautiful product. Very, very happy to have found the replacement for it because I can't find these on the Sephora website. Shoppers Drug Mart for the win. So then from there, this one here I can't really track the progress on. This is from Benefit. It is the 24-hour brow setter. It's just a clear brow gel. It's got an interesting little applicator to it, and I don't like this product. So I am just trying to finish it up. I've been working on it for a couple of months now. I feel like we're getting down to the final dregs of it, but it just like, is it doing it right now? No. Thankfully, you can feel it in the brows, like it does add a little bit of that crunchiness to it. And if I go in with too heavy of a hand, and it's like a razor thin wire between you're okay and you're not. So when I go in with too much, you can see it on the brows. Like it kind of like balls up as it dries, and then I have to kind of like scrape it away because it looks all flaky, and it basically looks like I have eyebrow dandruff, and that's not really the look I'm going for. So definitely wouldn't repurchase it. Not my favorite, but we're almost done. Same with this one here in terms of being almost done. I actually really do like this product. This is the Lash Princess False Lash Effect from Essence, and it's the one with the teal covering because there's a ton of these kind of princess mascaras. It just has a very, very standard wand to it, but it lifts my lashes, it separates them, it makes them look nice and long and feathery. I wouldn't say that it adds a ton of volume to it, but it really does help to lift them and just sort of splay them out. I think it's a solid option, especially if you're looking for a drugstore priced mascara. I don't really see the point in spending like $45 on a mascara. I did have one from Valentino. I had a deluxe size sample of the Valentino mascara. Very much liked it. Not spending $40 on a mascara, just not doing it. So Lash Princess works out well. Then we have another liquid highlighter. So I was saying that I have another option instead of the Charlotte Tilbury, and that comes in the form of this one here from Annabelle. This is the Enlighten Highlight Drops. It used to have like a pointed applicator tip, but it stopped working for whatever reason, so I just unscrewed it, and now I just kind of squeeze the product up, dip my brush into it, and go to town. It's beautiful. I'm wearing it today. It just adds like a little bit of a glow without being like, here's my highlighter. So that is sitting on top of my foundation underneath the powder. So you can see that it does make it quite subtle, but it still kind of peeks through a bit. I really like it. I don't see this on any of the Annabelle displays anymore. Again, this is a Canadian brand, so I'm looking at Walmart, Shoppers Drug Mart, and Rexall typically has them. But I think that they have canceled, like Annabelle has gotten rid of their Enlighten line, which is a bummer because this was a very, very nice product. Then, other end of the spectrum, we've got Chantecaille with the Chantecaille price tag. This was one of their limited editions from a year ago, 2 years ago? Time is relevant, I don't know. This is the Flower Power Perfect Blur Finishing Powder in light medium. And I just use it as a finishing powder. And I'm starting to be able to see what the shape of the pan is going to look like. It looks like there's little squares starting to show through, like the thinnest part of the powder. But I suspect I'm going to be working on this still for quite some time. I'm a-okay with it. I did not really like the product when I first got it. Once I figured out which brush works best with it, then I was off to the races. The brush that I use with it is from Il Maquillage. This is actually their foundation blending brush, but I like it for the finishing powder because the bristles are a little bit stiffer, so it's not like a big fluffy, do I have a powder brush? Yeah, so it's not like big and fluffy like a regular powder brush, but it's also not so dense that it doesn't blend things out, but I just find like blending the edges, especially where like my blush tries to, like where my blush ends, basically this helps to blend it out and then all over the face. So that is another one we'll be working on. And then lastly, this was in my project from 2022 and it's still kicking. This is the pencil eyeliner from Makeup Geek. This is in the shade Espresso and we're so close to the end. I feel like I probably only have a few more times of sharpening it. It's starting to get hard to sharpen it. And then it'll be all done. And I'm sad about that because I really do like this. I use it pretty much every single day in my waterline. Depending on my makeup for the day, I will use it to line my upper lashes as well, and then just use like a finger to smudge it out or a little tiny sponge brush that I have. And it lasts a very long time in my waterline. I have never found an eyeliner that lasts all day in my waterline, but that's probably one of the most long-lasting ones that I've encountered. So there we have it. Those are the items that I'm currently working on and the items that I have finished up. So that's all I've got to share for today. If you've been working on a project this year, let me know how you're doing with it, especially if there's only 2 months left of the year, which is kind of crazy to think about. What are some of your tips and tricks for staying motivated to stick with your project? Do you find that it's easier when there's only a couple months left, or at this point of the year, are you just kind of like, let me free of this prison? Let me know. For myself, I'm just honestly just enjoying using my products and using them up. I've shifted. There's a time where amassing products was the goal and that's what brought me happiness. And now it's like just really curating my collection and really getting to know the products that I have spent so much money on, and getting use out of them and finishing them up just kind of feels really good on the inside. So that's what I'm sticking with. So at any rate, thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I will see you in my next video, and until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.